Before I started my day, I wanted to go ahead and provide you with a third trait of a narcissist, which in my mind should have been the first because it's the most obvious trait. And that is narcissists always talk about themselves. Always, no matter how small or brief the conversation is, it's always about themselves. They never make your testimony or whatever it is you're dealing with a priority in any conversation. Any event or anything like that is always about themselves. And if the conversation starts out about something else, they always wind up steering the conversation back to them before it's over with. Let me give you a couple of examples, and I'm sure a lot of you have dealt with this. Let's say that you are at a wedding, and the wedding is over with, and you have the reception, and everybody's done their little toast, their little speeches, and everything else. Now, this person, the narcissist, isn't part of the wedding party, isn't sitting at the head table, isn't the MC or anything like that, but they have to make it a point to grab the microphone and say something about how they this and they this in relation to the bride and groom, how they did something for that person, or how they remembered a memory that the two of them had. And everybody in the wedding party is looking around wondering who the hell this person is. They're the type of people who do that. These are the type of people, every time there's a family function, they have to make it a point to say something or to do something that will give extra attention to them. They cannot go anywhere without having to be seen. They can't go anywhere without having to be known. So in order to do that, they'll take something as a simple conversation with the person in line in front of them while they're waiting for the line to go down, and they'll make it a conversation about them. Like, for instance, let's say that you are in line with a person, and the line's really long, and you know how it is when you go to the grocery store sometimes. The line will go straight down one of the aisles. It'll be so long because they don't have enough people on the registers to do the work. Or it's just really crowded that day. And, you kind of take time. Sometimes you'll say something that's like to the person in front of you or behind you. Just a quick reference. Oh, yeah, that thing, this line sure isn't long today, but, I had to come in here. Just something to kind of, pass the time. The narcissist will turn around and use that as an avenue for the simple fact that you made contact, any type of eye contact or verbal contact with them. They figure in their minds that's a cue to interject who they are. First thing they start talking about is how important everything is that they got to get out. Oh yeah, this is something else. I tell you the truth. Yeah, I got to get out of here because I got this important event to go to, and I do so and so, and I do so and so, and I do so and so. So I've got to hurry up and get there during this time. I tell you the truth. It makes me wonder: do I need to talk to the manager and find out if they have anybody? Why can't the manager just come out and do the register? Because my event is so important. And more than likely, the event or the thing that they're doing is not groundbreaking. It's not a congressional meeting. It's not a meeting at the UN. It's not a research meeting with the CDC. I mean, it's not anything that's on a universal scale. It's probably just an event that they're doing. But they are, out of all the 20 people that are in the line, they're so important. And the thing is when they say it at a volume loud enough for not only for you to hear, but for everybody else to hear, just to get the attention. That's one case in point. You people have probably run into that. They go over and above just to be noticed. Another case, let's say you're going to lunch with someone. Now, this person has had a high opinion upon them, with themselves, and you haven't gotten together in a while. So the purpose of you getting together with somebody that you haven't dealt with in a while is to get caught up on each other's lives, to find out what's going on with each other. And while the other person is telling the other person what's going on with them, it is supposed to be where the other person is listening and taking in the information. but not with the narcissist. No. They'll open their mouth and say 2 words. All of a sudden, the narcissist chimes in, starts talking about all the stuff they're doing and how important it is. And you have to understand, every time the narcissist opens their mouth and says something about what they're doing, it's never ordinary. It's never anything that everybody else can do. It's always something that's over the top, astronomical, overboard that they're doing in an effort to kind of make you think that they are just so great and so wonderful. They never do anything on a normal level. They're always special, always. And then right before you know it, that so-called catch-up lunch or catch-up dinner, whatever the case may be, you look up, it's an hour or so later, and they still don't know what's going on with you. And they've gone on and on and on about every single detail of their life and how important they are, and you're sitting there thinking to yourself, why did I come here? What turned out to be a very cordial meeting that you were looking forward to do, by the time the conversation is over, you listening to the narcissist, you're mentally exhausted. You probably have a headache of some sort. You don't feel important. You don't feel significant. And frankly, you're a little aggravated because you feel like you wasted your time. That's the way the majority of us feel. And the narcissist does not care if you feel that way, because their priority, wherever they go, is to be important. The most important thing in the room. The shiniest ball in the pit. The brightest star in the sky. They go overboard to make themselves relevant everywhere they go. And they take advantage of every situation. I mean, you could just make eye contact with a narcissist, and that opens up the floodgate. This is the way it is. It's all about them. And in actuality, people who are narcissists, they do not have a high self-esteem like people say. If you define self-esteem, you will actually see that there's a certain level of self-actualization involved. These people are self-aware and have a sense of a universal purpose, and also are considerate of other people. If you have true, real good self-esteem about yourself, you're aware of everything around you and its place around you. So if a narcissist is trying to change the dynamic to suit their taste everywhere they go, then they don't have high self-esteem. They actually have low self-esteem. Because if they had high self-esteem, they wouldn't have to go overboard to make themselves noticeable everywhere they go. They say action speaks louder than words. It's truth. The proof is in the pudding. You know, you have a lot of people that are posturing, trying to tell people every time you turn around, trying to tell them this and tell them this, what they're accomplishing, what they're accomplishing, what they're accomplishing. If you're doing it and people have eyes, they'll see it. And if you're really true to whatever it is you're accomplishing, you're going to be so busy working on it, you're not going to be running your mouth about it so much. If you have faith in what you're doing and you know it's the right thing and you're good at it, you're going to be busy working at it. If people got eyes, they can see what you're doing. You don't have to broadcast anything. And people who do feel they need to broadcast and make themselves relevant all the time, they're suffering from low self-esteem. Ergo, the narcissist is one who makes it a point to turn the conversation to themselves. They're trying to make themselves feel important because way deep down they don't feel important. So I hope this brings a little clarity as to what's going on. These are the type of people you can't have a simple conversation with them because it's going to go back to them no matter what. They may not even have full knowledge of the situation that's going in. And it could be any subject. It could be any subject in this world. I'm telling you, bring up a subject to a narcissist and tell me they know everything about every single subject, and they're going to talk about their take on it. They're going to talk about their experience that they so-called have or didn't have, but they're going to make you think they have knowledge about everything. They're the jack of all trades. They know all, be all. They're the source. They're the ones. And they want you to idolize them. Their goal is to get as many people as they can to idolize them. That's what the whole goal of the narcissist is, to try to get as many people to idolize them, because that makes them feel like somebody, and they don't have sense enough to know that they are already somebody, because their low self-esteem is telling them that you have to get all these people to follow you. And they spend more time talking about how great they are instead of working on their greatness. You don't stand a chance in conversation with a narcissist. I'm going to tell you right now, I hate to sound negative, but be prepared. When you start dealing with these people, you're not going to be in the front seat. You're not going to be in the driver's seat. You'll barely be a passenger. And if you're a passenger, you better be quiet, because they're going to take over. So the best way to deal with these people is either, don't talk to them, or don't, and for goodness sake, don't let them get involved in any activities, because I can tell you right now, if the person's a narcissist and they're involved in any type of activity, civic relationship, religious or otherwise, guess what? They're going to wind up being in charge eventually. Because they can't just sit down and be a member of anything. They got to be the top of the heap all the time. And don't think about the responsibilities associated with it, because they've already got it in their mind. They're the top of the world. And feeding their ego does not help things, people. Just accept in your mind that this person is not emotionally stable at all, and just limit your access and your time with them. That's the best way that you can protect your own energy and your sanity. Because they'll drive you nuts trying to make themselves relevant and have no care about you as an individual person and the consequences at all. But that's another trait of the narcissism. These people talk about themselves all the time, regardless of the situation, and will not yield the conversation to anyone. Whether it's relevant to them or not, they're going to take that situation. At the end of the conversation, that situation is going to end on their note, and the spotlight is going to be on them. They take every single verbal interaction as a means to put the light on them. It's all about them. So I hope this serves you. And like I said, this particular trait actually should have been the first one, because it's the most obvious one. These people don't listen at all. So I hope this serves you, and when I come up with number 4, I will let you know, but I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys to it, and peace be unto you.